Okay, I'll mute myself.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me. The talk this morning is about family search. A lot of information that some people might know, but one of the reasons for giving this talk was because in the beginning of this year, FamilySearch put out a new research guide which makes it easier for people logging in to research family search websites. One thing that I would say is you don't need to make any notes, because I will send Julia some PDF notes after the talk. I shan't stop for the virtual cafe, but I will send an email across to Julia, and Julia, I'm afraid you'll have to distribute them. One of the things which I will say about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is, if you're not looking at it on a regular basis, I do recommend that you sign in. A lot of people have said to me, yeah, but I don't want to become a Mormon. I don't want to join the Latter-day Saints. I said, look, all you need to do is sign in. You give them your email address, you look at a password so that you can log in, and that way you can open up far more on their websites. So first of all, I want to talk about the British, and I include Northern Ireland with this, the British Genealogy Free Network. And most of you are aware of these, I'm sure. Gen UK, which is like a very good wiki for learning about genealogy and family history, with a lot of information about certain counties. freebmd.org with links to free reg, parish registers, and free send, and UK BMD, which has a lot of information on it, which again is free, and of course Family Search Organization. All of these are the genealogy network because they are all free and they're all run by volunteers. Right, let's talk about the Latter-day Saints Church and the Book of Mormon. This is a bit of history which you might know and you might not know, but the church was founded in 1820 by Joseph Smith, and in 1830 he wrote the Book of Mormon. The church's theology, 1 minute, I've got to, thank you, someone's just joined us. The church's theology and teaching, which goes way beyond the prohibition of drinking tea, coffee, and alcohol because of their caffeine content. But Mormons should posthumously baptize their ancestors so that they can join them in heaven, hence their fascination in genealogy. So the church started with the Anglican parish registers from 1538. But at that time, the Mormons asked the Catholic Church for their records, and they refused. They refused to make their records available due to the teachings of the Latter-day Saints. Not only the Catholic Church, but the Jewish community did not believe in their teachings, and the Lutheran Church, which is in mid-Europe. Family Search. In 1938, the Latter-day Saints began microfilming our parish records from 1538. And in 1973, they established the International Genealogical Index known as the IGI. On the 24th of May 1999, they made available the free searchable database, FamilySearch.org, on the internet, when Google at that time in 1999 ranked only 93 in the top websites. Today, there are over 8 billion searchable names and more than 5 billion images of historical records, with 490,000 digital books. And it's the world's largest genealogy organization. When we talk about the 5 billion images of historical records, we're mainly looking at, say, parish records. You find a parish record and the research guide shows you what's available to look at as far as that record is concerned. Now, one thing that did happen was Joseph Smith was assassinated. This was because the people in the New York state where they first started didn't agree with him. They didn't agree with his teaching in his church. So the Mormons were then led by Brigham Young as their prophet. And in 1847, as a persecuted group, which they say they were persecuted in the New York state, they fled across America to establish Salt Lake City in Utah. Then it was a Native American Indian territory, but that didn't seem to bother them. They set up Salt Lake City. In 1875, the Mormons founded the Brigham Young University, still going today, not one of the top universities, but a very important university in America. And in 1983, 2 graduates from the university, Paul Allen and Dan Taggart, started Ancestry to publish the genealogy findings. They could see, as members of the church, that they had so many records which people would be interested, so they started a publishing company. Today, the Mormons number over 16 million worldwide. Now, one of the best things about FamilySearch is the research wiki. The wiki is like an online global encyclopedia for family history, and it was launched in 2008 and now has more than 90,000 articles. These articles are geographic pages, research tools, English, Welsh, Scottish, county information. I'm not certain about Northern Ireland, parish records for each parish, and a list of which records are available online or via commercial sites and on FamilySearch.org. The wiki is available in 11 languages. One of the things which is very good, and again, I've got to apologize, I only know this for England, Wales, and Scotland. I haven't looked at it for Northern Ireland, but a map feature on FamilySearch goes way beyond the traditional references to Phillimore's Atlas and Index of Parish Registers, which is the classic guide to the registration districts. It's a great help because you can put in the information where you're looking for and look to the county, civil registration district, the probate court, diocese, poor law union, and all the other information. You can find the church you're researching, and especially when the parish records and the bishop's transcript began, because we all know that when Thomas Cromwell for Henry VIII said, right, we're going to record all the parish and who lives there and who's married, who's died, well, who's given birth, not all the vicars or the clergy agreed with that. So it wasn't until some years later that bishop transcripts was brought about. One thing I want to talk to you about is family history centers. Now, due to restrictions imposed by some archives and record holders, you know that records our family records are licensed, and they are licensed for a period of time. And some records can only be viewed in one of over 90 family history centres in the UK and Northern Ireland. But at those family history centres, there is free access to the following commercial genealogy websites. Personally, I don't subscribe to Ancestry. I subscribe to Find My Past because I find it's more for what I want as far as the UK and Scotland and Northern Ireland. The genealogist and my heritage. And to find out about the family history centres, or you only need to log in. But I've logged in the last few days. I've gone to Google. I've logged into Family History Centres Northern Ireland, and the usual three have come up. The Belfast one is shown that it's permanently closed. Now, I don't know whether it's permanently closed because of COVID. Your Coleraine one appears to be open. And of course, the Foyle North Ireland History Centre, I believe, is also open, which is in Derry. And of course, this one is quite a major family history centre. Right, FamilySearch is one of the big four. Ancestry counts for more than 27 billion records from America, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Sweden, and the United Kingdom and Australia. One of the reasons that I don't use Ancestry, I go to the library, because here in the Midlands now, Ancestry Library Edition is free at the Birmingham Library setup around the Midlands area. I prefer Find My Past because it's more into the records of England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland, which really is the area that I look to. 9 billion historical records, and they're adding them all the time. And they, I don't know whether you're aware, but Find My Past moved their head office to Dublin. I think they moved it to Dublin a couple of years ago because of financial benefits. But still, they moving to Dublin got very close to the Catholic Church in Ireland, and they were given access to the Catholic Church heritage records. And of course, my heritage, we all know, is the website that was started in Tel Aviv in Israel, and it's really starting for the global Jewish content. People living in Israel wanted to know more from where their family came from, the different diasporas, the pogroms in Eastern Europe and Russia, where Jews had to move away and moved around to Europe, the Inquisition in Spain and Portugal, where the Sephardic Jews were told either you become a Catholic or you'll be executed. Some became Catholics, but some decided, no, I'm not going to be a Catholic. So they moved out of Spain and Portugal and moved across into Europe, mainly into Northern Europe, places like Holland and Belgium and around there. Now, the Ashkenazi Jews, which had come from the eastern part of Europe, they didn't mix very well with the Sephardic Jews. So the Sephardic Jews then started to move across to the United States and Canada and down further into Southern America. FamilySearch International, as I said, searchable names, 8.2 billion. This is as of November last year. Digital images, 5.7 billion. Digital books online at the Brigham Young University, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the talk. The number of family history centres worldwide is over 5,000, and the monthly online visits from all over the world is over 22 million. Now, they do have a global family tree. One of the things with the global family tree is not a lot of people agree with it. I mean, this is one of the things that the Jewish people said, how can you have a global family tree? Well, one of the things with the Church of Latter-day Saints is when you sign up, they will ask if you're interested in helping them in indexing. Now, indexing means that they can send you a transcribed record, and they will ask you to start to index it and put down all the records. You then put that in to the FamilySearch Global Family Tree. I just want to say that doing my usual research, I got back to 1694. So I thought, well, I'm signed up to FamilySearch. I'll have a look at the global family tree. So I found the very last, or that's really going back the first 1694 parish record that I could find. I entered it into FamilySearch, and then I said, please enter it into the global family tree. The global family tree opened up, and I found more further back records of my family. In fact, I'm now back to 1564 or something like that, 1563. So when I say, you know, sign up, don't just log in and have a look and see what you can find, because only by signing up can you do those things like looking for a record and passing it to the global family tree. FamilySearch is now available in 30 languages, and when you look at different things on there, you will see that you've got your opportunities to change things. Now, the U3A have genealogy research guidance notes, and that is the research guide for FamilySearch.org, which was new of January 2021. And then there's finding free records on FamilySearch. And I am going to send those through to Julia, so you don't need to write any notes, and she will pass them on. Now, one thing that I want to talk about is a special note on the Internet Archive. A lot of people know about this, but I just want to say this is a non-profit digital library with over 165,000 digitized genealogy books. Some are from the Brigham Young Library. There was over 490,000. And there are some from the National Library of Scotland with over 430 Scottish family history books. And I say that because a number of Scottish people are looking for more information about their family history, because we're talking about things like the clans and everything else in Scotland. And you can see there's the website. You'll see it on the notes, because I will send the notes available through to you. But one thing that I just want to mention, and I looked it up this morning, is the Scottish Irish genealogy. And this is another note which I will send through to Julia. And this is what the Americans look at in the process of tracing your American ancestors across the Atlantic to one of the 9 counties of the Irish province of Ulster. The thing with the Scots Irish genealogy is the general assumption that everyone who came from Ulster into America had ancestors in Scotland, and this is not entirely true. You know, Protestants from Scotland were the majority of settlers in Ulster. With Protestants from England and France, the Huguenots and that, they all moved across to Northern Ireland. And of course, despite the hardships they faced, many native Irish remained in Ulster, especially in counties of Donegal, Cavan and Monaghan. Over the course of time, people changed religions, intermarried, so you may discover that your ancestors do not fit the standard storyline of the Scots-Irish. And this is one research guidance note which might be of interest to some of you regarding the Scottish diaspora. You know, the people in Scotland that were the Highlanders moved out by clearances, and they went to the United States and Canada, Nova Scotia, New Scotland, and they also, there was the movement of the lowlanders, and all of this information is in a note which I can send to you. And if you look at the wiki on FamilySearch, you can see more about the movement of people from Ireland into America, if that's one of the areas which you are looking at. Okay, I'm just going to stop share, come back to you. I think, yeah, you're all there. Okay, let me go to general view. Okay, if you want to unmute, if there are any questions that I can help you with.
Thank you very much, Stephen. No, that was really interesting. I think I feel I want to go on and look at my ancestors. So my aunt did a lot of research many years ago, and my family, I come from Cheshire, as I said, but my family, she found out that we were, my family, the Kenyans, which is my maiden name, is cattle rustlers or something in Ireland, cattle drovers in Ireland. Although they did more rustling, we actually got thrown out of Ireland. I don't know how many years back, and whether this is true, but it's the sort of thing that I keep thinking, you know, I'll go and look it up. So I think I'm quite proud of it. So we got thrown out of Ireland into the west of Scotland and dribbled down to Yorkshire and then managed to Cheshire, where my family still are. So, oh, that was really interesting. So, anybody, any questions?
Nuala? No. Sorry, could Steve elaborate more on the wiki? What exactly it is and what exactly?
Yeah, if you open up, when you get the research guidance note, that's the new one from January, you can go down, it's a PDF, you can either scroll down on the screen or you can print it off and use it as a list of things to do. If you go down to the FamilySearch Wiki and you log in, you will see a map of the world. You then put in the place that you're looking for, and it will automatically open up to that area. I mean, if you put in Northern Ireland, or a county rather, a county would be better, it'll open up to that county. You can then scroll down and see what records are available for that county. Some months ago, I had an email from a gentleman in Northern Ireland who was Hungarian, and he wanted to do his family history. And he said to me, I need to find my Hungarian records. So between us, we logged into FamilySearch Wiki, we put in Hungary, and that page opened up and you could scroll down and you could see where all the records were in Hungary. It did mean that we opened up in English, so if he spoke Hungarian, you know, he would have had to have changed the screen to look at those records. But this is one of the things with the wiki. The wiki has got so much information on it, and if you've got a brick wall that you can't move on from, it's a good idea to have a look at the FamilySearch and see the wiki and see if you can move on from there.
Thank you very much. That's Fantastic.
Nuala, it's straightforward. It's very easy.
Everybody tells me that.
Yes, could I have a question, please?
Yes,
Joe?
Joe? Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your experience of DNA test kits?
Well, I give a talk specifically on DNA. Genetic
So just
genealogy.
DNA test kits.
I will say, I'll take it, Joe, that you haven't taken a DNA test.
No.
A DNA test really is two things. Either you want to find your cousins across the world and you want to join up with them. Now, we all have got more cousins than we have got closest family. You can go on forever and ever and ever building a family tree. And another thing is people want to know their ethnicity. Now, we are all migrants. Doesn't matter where you come from, we're all migrants. You know, whether it was the Norman conquest that came over to England and they were Danes, they came across, and, you know, whether you go way, way back to ethnicity. Now, a lot of people, and Ancestry have got over 20 million DNA tests on their database. A lot of those people just wanted to know their ethnicity. They didn't have a family tree on Ancestry. All they were interested in is, where did the family come from? Now, one thing, Joe, if you haven't taken a test, you'll have to write this down because this isn't part of the talk. Go on to DNAtestingchoice.com. This is a free website. It is based in London. And when you open up the home page, across the top, you will see Ancestry, which is not just Ancestry. You will see paternity, and you will see health. Now, for a solicitor who's working on a paternity case, he will go to the paternity list and look at the DNA tests and those that are being done to establish paternity. The one on health is entirely up to you. Personally, I've never opened it up. I've never looked at the health, the DNA tests on health, because really I'm not interested in what's going to happen or may happen in the future. But if you click on Ancestry, you will get up to 50 DNA websites. Now, one of the good things with this is because if you click on Ancestry, you will see the latest prices. As Father's Day, oh yeah, Father's Day's gone, hasn't it? Father's Day's gone, but for Father's Day, Ancestry always have an offer, a cheap offer. But one of the things with this website, DNA, no dots, no dashes, DNAtestingchoice.com, is you will see customers' comments. And that's important. You'll see when the tests have been, you know, what tests have been taken and what results have come. One thing that I will say is that recently, most of the test companies now are in the States. Living DNA, which is one of them, use a test company in Denmark. And because of COVID, they have been doing more testing for COVID than they have been doing DNA family history testing, which has meant that the delivery times have gone out. You can't worry about it. You will get your results, but I believe some of them have gone out to as much as 29 days before you get your results back. And that is because those laboratories, especially in America, have said to the government, listen, we'll do COVID testing for you as well. Joe, I don't know whether that answers your question, but if you have anything else to answer, then, you know, you're welcome.
No, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, DNAtestingchoice.com.
Somebody else.
Julia?
Oh, Peter Gibson, yeah.
Yeah, like Nuala, I'm a sort of a visitor in Causeway, because we were both signed up for Causeway because we're involved in the Postal Pensioners Special Shared Learning Project. I'd like to thank Steve for his talk. It's very interesting to get a wee bit of the background about FamilySearch. But just to comment that you know, some of the references you made, Steve, to FreeBMD and FreeSend, they really do not apply to Ireland at all. And just to say that there are very particular issues about family history research in Ireland. And as Nuala knows, in Northern Ireland for about 5 years, we ran a course called Genealogy for Beginners, which actually focused on the particular challenges of doing Irish family research. And it's just to let everybody know that, you know, that there are particular issues, and they can be addressed, but they will not necessarily be addressed in the more general websites, as it were.
Yeah, Peter, I just want to say one thing. You know, I give talks more to U3A groups. I mean, there's over 1,000 U3As. There is over 500 family history groups. And I give talks to many across the UK, but you're the first one I've given a talk to in Northern Ireland. And that was because Julie asked me to give the talk to you. One thing I will say is that you have a fantastic, a really good public records office in Northern Ireland. PRONI in Northern Ireland is a very, very good record office. It's much better than some of those that we've got in England. I believe access is generally available because, of course, you can't visit them, but they've got so much information there to help. Now, the only thing is, what I would say, Peter, is that a number of people that have asked me for advice or help have moved across different countries. They've moved, let's say, from Scotland to England, from England to Northern Ireland, from Northern Ireland to Southern Ireland, and even across to the States. And, you know, it's not easy tracking down family history. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's only those who are really keen and interested on family history that will do the research work. But one of the things, you know, I give a talk on the genealogical proof standard. And that proof standard, which started in America, is now available now through the UK. That proof standard will say that you've got to look at more than 2 areas of records. And for me, if I'm looking for some records, I do start with Find My Past. I've got a subscription for Find My Past. I've a subscription for Scotland's People, because I need to be able to look at Scotland's People. Again, a very good website. I then look towards FamilySearch, and I have a look to see what FamilySearch is on it. And if I need to really check out the records, I will go to Ancestry at the library when they're open. You know, you can go on and on and on paying out for subscriptions, you know, unless you've got a bottomless pit of money, you know, it can be very expensive. But
yes, but just to say that in Ireland, I mean, you can start with 2 free websites that are run by the Irish government. The National Archives.ie, which have got the censuses, and irishgenealogy.ie, which has got full birth, death, and marriage records visible on screen, free. For Northern Ireland, only up until partition, and subject to the usual privacy rules, about 100 years for births and 75 for marriages. But those are really the starting points in Ireland for doing research. And with those two websites, people can get really quite far to get their immediate, as it were, in the last 150 years family.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, Peter, I don't know too much about researching in Northern Ireland. I did have, or I have got, and I'll send it to Julia, about this movement of people from Scotland to Ulster. And this is one of the important things. And there are many books written about this by the Dr. Dobson at the University of Aberdeen, I think it is. That's on the notes. But it's not always easy to find, you know, family history when they migrate from one area to another. It's not always straightforward.
May I? Can I? So, if you, where would you start with a? Do you start with a place or a name or both, or if you were looking something up? You know, if I've got relatives in Yorkshire or something.
Yeah, you know, I always go for the name.
Mm-hmm.
If you put in, are we talking about FamilySearch?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
On FamilySearch, you know, I log in, they know who I am, they know that I've got a free account, you know. I then log in, I then put in what I'm looking for. I mean, I've already got a family history timeline. I get back to a certain stage and I then find that person and then I start to put in the details. It probably will give me a whole list of people that I'm not really interested in. But then if I start to filter it down, and you can see the filters on the home page, or sorry, on the records page that you're looking at, I then start to look down. Now, one of the things which has been leveled at FamilySearch is that the people who volunteer to do indexing don't always get it right. They don't always get the indexing right. And I see Peter nodding there. That's one of the things, but you see, it's a volunteer. It's a volunteer who's seen some records and thinking, well, that must be connected to this person. And so that's what they do. They try to index and link it in to what is called the global family tree. And you just have to work your way through it.
Okay,
Ken.
thank you.
Ken? I think Ken raised his hand.
You need to unmute yourself, Ken. That's it.
Good morning, Steve. Thanks for an excellent talk. May I say it was really busting. And basically, you're very, very lucky indeed to have that marvelous facility in Broad Street. I visited just after the opening and it's absolutely incredible compared with the old building. Steve, I wonder if I may pass on my details to a friend who has recently joined the recent starting up of the U3A in Kings Norton. And I think she is very, very much into family history searching, but I think that the group in Kings Norton would welcome a talk if you wouldn't mind.
Yes,
passing
Ken.
on your details.
Yeah, Ken, just pass it on. Pass it on. You know.
Many thanks indeed, Steve.
As I said, there are over 500 family history groups throughout the UK, Northern Ireland. You've got a few, Scotland, and everything, and Wales. So I get quite a lot of bookings. So it might be a little bit way down the line before I can get around it there.
Not a problem.
But welcome to contact me.
Thanks very much, Steve, indeed.
Kate?
I'm just wondering, what's the situation if you have the misfortune of being either a Smith or a Jones?
I'm afraid that's very unfortunate.
I'm not a Smith or a Jones, but just, you know, how you can start to sort out whether you're a Smith or a Smythe.
You've got to be a really good researcher to get around that. And the only thing to do is start to filter those, you know, on most of the websites, and even on FamilySearch, you will see there are filters, and you need to start to filter, you know, John Smith. And so you filter down and you put in a place, put in a date, go back and open it up. And this is all you can do. It's not easy, but genealogy isn't easy.
I wonder if I can come back to you, Steve.
Yeah.
On that point, when I moved back to the province in 1988, and the telephone book was still available for the whole of the province, I looked up as a matter of interest to see how many parkses there were in the province, and there was only 14 of us. Now, I started to look at my father's side. My dad was born at the northern end of the Aston football ground in Aston. And apparently there are 4,000 or 5,000 parkses in Birmingham. And that's where I came unstuck, because obviously I lost my father at a very young age. I knew his own father was still alive. And going back any further than that, like the previous questioner, where do I start with Parks? Because as you probably know, Josias Parks, who started the security and key lock company in Wednesbury, is one of many thousands of Parkses, and basically with regret. But I have to say, from your talk, I'm very inspired to start again, because obviously that is going to be a phenomenal searching situation, because of the number of Parkses that are in the Birmingham area particularly.
Yeah, Ken, you really, you know, you really have to take it one step at a time going back.
Indeed.
You really have to need to find out about the family and an address. And as Peter was saying, the census is one of the main things which is a really good help. I mean, all of us now, all of us genealogists like yourselves, we're all waiting for next February, because next February you will have the 1921 census become available, I'm afraid, on Find My Past. So you have to have a look and see what information is there. That census will be one of the most important censuses, because you'll get that bit of information. You'll get that bit of information between 1911 and 1921, when you can see who survived the First World War and who survived the pandemic, the Spanish flu. Lots and lots of women were working in jobs in the munitions factories and that, and a lot of them got the Spanish flu, especially in the Birmingham area, Ken, and they died. And this is such an important census. And as Peter said, the census is one of the things which is good to start and look and see what information is available.
Steve, no census for Ireland.
No census.
No, the census wasn't taken, and the 1926 Northern Ireland census that was taken instead has been destroyed.
Has it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There was
no Steve, on that point, by the way, you did mention Prony. Prony will be available to visit, I think, after the COVID situation goes, because many years ago, we did actually have a group which visited Prony. And on your first visit, you are photographed and issued with a security pass. So I do on occasions jump on a train and head down to Belfast to visit Prony. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's located in the harbour complex, and it's a very interesting day out. They've got a small cafe which will supply you with a meal, and it's definitely worth a visit. Take plenty of pencils and paper with you, and the staff are extremely helpful, Steve.
Yeah. Peter, can I just come back to you? What was the situation then with the censuses in Northern Ireland? Did you have a 1911.
Yes, the only two censuses we have complete are 1911 and 1901. And during the First World War, a lot of the censuses were pulped, and then those which weren't pulped were destroyed in a fire in 1922.
Yeah, that was the Dublin.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But Dublin was the capital of Ireland, and all the records are held there.
Yeah.
So no census was taken in 1921 because of civil disturbances.
Yeah.
There was a census taken in Northern Ireland in 1926, but the records are being lost. They've probably been destroyed.
I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
So that there's no, we can't expect census information for a long time.
No. Oh, well, I when I refer to the 1921, then it's for the people like Ken, who is looking at the British records and that.
If I mean, researching family history in England, Scotland, and Wales for me as an Irishman is very easy, because you have got censuses back to 1841.
Yeah.
We have got censuses for 1901 and 1911 period.
Right.
So we have to look at census alternatives, and that's an issue for us. And there are some census alternatives, but today is not the day for that discussion.
Okay.
I think, Linda, do you want to ask a question?
Could I ask, you mentioned some sites that deal with European countries, or is there any general sites that deal with Europe if you were starting off to look at an area?
Julie, I found it a little bit difficult hearing Linda. Can you just tell me what?
I think she was inquiring about sites in Belgium and in Europe in particular. Where do you start? But I think
FamilySearch Wiki.
Yeah, I think it does that as well.
Go to the FamilySearch Wiki, open it up, put in Belgium, and then that will come up. It'll be in the research guidance notes. The research guide for FamilySearch. You put that in, and you can then scroll down and see what records are available. You then can start to look and see whether there is a possibility that some of the records are in English. That I can't be certain, but that's the way you start. You go to FamilySearch Wiki, and then you put in Belgium, and then you start to look down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's our vote.
Anybody else? Anything they would like to ask? No. Well, thank you very much, Stephen. That was really interesting, and I think we've all got to sort of well, I think after the virtual cafe, I'll go on to log on and see what I can find. Really, I think it would be very interesting. Nice to know what's
Julie, I won't stop for your virtual cafe, but
no, thank you very much.
In the next hour, I will send you the PDFs, and if you will kindly distribute them, because I can't send them to each individual.
No, that's fine.
But thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for coming, and it's very interesting. So
thank you very much.
So much. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Thank you.
Yeah.